dreams in our eyes. The crowds roar like a storm on the wind. We're the underdogs fighting again.
What's up, guys? It is Monday night here in the fighting town of Flint, Michigan, and this is the biggest little soccer podcast on YouTube. It is Stateside Footy. Before we get into it, let's go ahead and make sure you hit the like and subscribe buttons and also hit the notification bell so you do not miss out on any Stateside Footy's content, upcoming content, past content, whatever the case may be, man. Just hit that like and subscribe button. All right, let's get after it. As you know, it's Monday night. And of course, on Monday nights, man, we have the USMNT Yanks abroad. And of course, this week, God damn it, man, it was actually a really solid week, man. Kind of going over these numbers and tracking some of these players. It's been a long time since we've had this consistent of a week. And as we begin, oh, by the way, just a quick little side note, I usually do have graphics for this, but unfortunately I just didn't have time to do it today. So it's kind of back to the old setup for at least 1 week. And of course, generally speaking, next week it'll be back to the usual standard format. But it is what it is. Let's go ahead and get into it. And of course, we start off with our striker pool. And, the two names on this list did not play over this weekend. And of course, that is Flo Balogun and Haji, right? But who did make appearances this week was Ricardo Pepi. And of course, Eindhoven actually had a 1-0 win over NAC Brada. Pepi, by the way, had only 20 minutes this weekend, 9 touches, and it looked like really it was only 4 or 5 accurate passes. There wasn't really much to this one. And it looks like he also missed a big chance as well, too. But again, Ricardo Pepi, really this is kind of uncharted territory because, what's interesting about this is his coach actually views him as the number one. But as of right now, his backup, he's scoring goals. He's doing the thing. And of course, coaches look at this and will actually ride the hot hand. And it's actually up to Ricardo Pepi to remind his head coach just exactly who he is. But when you kind of look at the international break and now you look at this first one back and it's kind of like, I'm not going to sit here and write off Ricardo Pepi. It was only 20 minutes in the first weekend back after an international break, a nice little chunk of minutes. But again, with those chunk of minutes, you actually have to, take care of that opportunity. He didn't, and it is what it is. But obviously, Ricardo Pepi is Ricardo Pepi, and I would probably assume that next week he's probably going to score again. And it just is what it is. All right, the other guy worth mentioning is Josh Sargent. And, of course, Norwich ends up losing 4-1 to Birmingham. Listen, man, this is now the 12th straight week that Sargent has, literally, I think actually, let me rephrase that. He actually did have a week where he chipped in an assist. But outside of that, really the goals, it's been 12 straight weeks since he's had a goal. And now we're in alarming territory. And again, I preface this by saying that Norwich City is absolute dog shit. When you look at the championship table and you see where they're at, you see the summer business that they did, the players that they lost, the guys that they didn't replace, and Sargent is out there on an island again this weekend. Same situation, 88 minutes. He did manage 4 shots on target, so that's good. 36 touches, 5 in the opposition box, 13 of 16 of accurate passes, which is good for a 6.5 rating. He's doing everything except for what a striker is actually being paid to do, which is score goals. And it's unsettling, too, because unfortunately there's a good chance that Norwich City gets relegated. And if that happens, I have no idea which direction Sargent's career turns from here, because there is no doubt that he's a capable striker in the championship. The last 3 seasons have absolutely proved that. But unfortunately right now, he's going through just a rough stretch right now. And it's not just Josh Sargent, it's the entire Norwich squad. Patrick Agyemang also played this weekend, 71 minutes played. Nothing extensively exclusive to write home about his performance as well, too. For the striker pool at large, it just was not a good week. You know, the two big guns for the U.S. men's national team did not feature, so it is what it is. The fireworks here are at the forward position, and we begin with Christian Pulisic. And Pulisic, by the way, his AC Milan wins the Milan derby 1-0. Pulisic, 78 minutes, did score the lone goal on 2 shots, 38 touches, 6 in the opposition box. 17 of 22 accurate passes, good for a 7.5 rating. And this was the slow roll. This was the slow burn AC Milan did between the end of the October window and, of course, the end of the November window. He did get in the week heading into the November break, although it was only for 20 minutes or something like that. Didn't necessarily have anything to write home about that performance, but we kind of expected this was going to happen, knowing the calendar had Inter Milan circled on it. So obviously Christian Pulisic is just a big game player, big game hunter, and he certainly had himself quite the performance this weekend. And by the way, did you see that goal? Good Lord, man, that was such a beautiful goal. The other guy worth mentioning, Malik Tillman. And, of course, Bayer Leverkusen beat Wolfsburg 3-1. Malik played 64 minutes, and he also scored a beautiful goal himself. He scored on the 1 shot that he took, 32 touches, 22 of 29 accurate passes. 3 of those went to the final third. And the overall consistent play of Malik Tillman was good for a 7.5 rating himself. He was absolutely brilliant. And it's nice seeing this. This is the positive reinforcement. And again, Malik Tillman was dealing with some injuries as well, too, between the end of the October window and the beginning of the November window. He was held out, obviously. But that being said, again, it's nice to see some of our big guns showing up on the biggest stages. Granted, it's Wolfsburg. I understand it would have been something different if this was Bayern Munich. But again, man, you're going to take it where you're going to be able to get it. Gio Reyna, coming off the November window, played 18 minutes in Borussia Mönchengladbach's 3-0 victory over Heidenheim. He only managed 18 minutes in this one, but this was a solid 18-minute performance, man. Like one of the best 18 to 20-minute performances of the weekend. 2 chances created, 25 touches, 19 of 20 of accurate passes, 3 into the final third, 2 of 2 of accurate long balls. That was good for a 7 rating as well, too. And again, this kind of seems to be, as of right now, the role that he's playing, and he's taking advantage of the role as well, too. And it seems like he's kind of the first off the bench for Borussia Mönchengladbach, and I would probably assume within the next month, Gio is probably going to start being a regular fixture in that starting 11. It feels like that is the very next, the very next thing for Gio. Is breaking into the starting 11. Brendan Aronson and his Leeds United lost 2-1 to Aston Villa in a game that they were actually leading. They scored within the first 8 minutes, and then of course Morgan Rogers buries the second half brace to sink Leeds. He played 80 minutes, did manage 3 shots on 40 touches. 4 of those were in the opposition box. 19 of 22 of accurate passes, 8 defensive contributions, good enough for a 6.5 rating. And again, steady Eddie is Brandon Aronson, and he's kind of hovering in that 6.57 rating every single week. He did have a monster week. I think it was about 3, maybe 4 weeks ago, where he actually got his first Premier League goal of the season. But that being said, man, he is a solid fixture in that Leeds United lineup off the right-hand side, and he's doing a bang-up job. Timmy Weah and his Olympique Marseille had a 5-1 victory over Nice. He played the entire 90, did manage one goal on his lone shot. Again, beautiful goal off the right-hand side, kind of from a wonky shooting angle, but again, still a beautiful goal. He managed 38 touches, 3 of those in the opposition box, 25 of 28 of accurate passing. That was good enough for an 8 rating. He had himself a brilliant performance, playing underneath the primary target 9 in a 3-4-2-1 for Olympique Marseille. And he played well, man. He played incredibly well. And finishing out the forwards here is going to be Wes. And Juventus drew 1-1 with Fiorentina. He played a full 90, 2 shots. He also had 2 chance creations, 58 touches, 5 in the opposition box, 38 of 43 accurate passes. 4 of those went into the final third, which was good enough for a 7.5 rating. And West actually played brilliantly. West was, had a brilliant performance. And again, the weird thing about West is that it's not necessarily showing up in the goals and assists. But that being said, you look at the work rate and you look at the positions that he's playing and how Juventus is deploying them. He is absolutely having brilliant performances, and you would just assume that the next thing that's going to be added is the goals and assists, and hopefully that is the case for Wes. But again, man, his performance this week was absolutely brilliant. Among 6 different performances in the forward position, 3 goals featuring this week in this position group, but all of them were solid performances across the board. And I love that consistency within this player group. Turning to the center defensive midfielders and Tyler Adams as Bournemouth, the Cherries drew 2-2 with West Ham. Tyler had played 80 minutes, managed 82 touches, 67 of 72 accurate passes. 11 of those went into the final third. 9 defensive contributions, 2 interceptions as well too, and he finishes with a 7 rating. And again, steady Eddie, Tyler Adams, every single week, boom, 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 the exact same performances. Very rarely do you see Tyler have a bad performance. And again, this is just what Tyler does, man, week in and week out in the Premier League. Tanner Tessman. His Olympique Lyon managed a 0-0 draw against Auxerre. He played a full 90, manages 3 shots himself, 1 chance creation, 81 touches, 3 in the opposition box, 56 of 67 of accurate passes. 6 of those in the final third. 7 defensive contributions, 7 recoveries. His performance was outstanding, good enough for an 8 rating. And again, man, it's the evolution of Tanner Tessman. 2025 has to be a career year for him, just all the way across the board. Obviously, making the move to Olympique Lyon, struggling initially in that first little bit of adjusting to a new league, adjusting to a new country, and since then, everything has just clicked perfectly with Tanner Tessman. And now all of a sudden, we're going to start asking the questions of whether or not he's now going to jump to a higher league, because it seems like that's the natural progression for a guy like Tanner Tessman. Aidan Morris and Middlesbrough drew a 1-1 against Oxford United. He only played 62 minutes, did manage 2 shots on net, 80 touches in the afternoon, 57 of 60 of accurate passes. 6 of those went into the final third. 4 of 8 in ground duels, and that was good enough for a 7 rating as well too. And this is just what Aidan Morris does too. You talk about consistency. It doesn't get any consistent than the performances of Aidan Morris. All right, let's move to the wing backs, and we always feature the same 3. And don't get it twisted. Oh, by the way, I should mention that home dude from Venezia, Gianluca Busio, also scored this weekend as well too. I have to mention that. Busio actually had a very good performance for Venezia. That's worth mentioning as well too. All right, we begin with Serginho Dest, and of course PSV Eindhoven. Obviously, won that match 1-0 against NAC Brada. He had 90 minutes, 81 touches, 37 to 41 of accurate passes. 6 of those went into the final third, 9 recoveries, and his performance was good for a 7.5 rating. And, of course, this is just what Serginho does. Dude is absolutely brilliant in that position. And it's nice to see Serginho coming back off an international break with the minutes that he played and still being able to be consistent, even though that travel is absolutely insane. Let's talk about John Tolkien. He didn't necessarily have that great of a weekend as Holstein Kiel lost 4-1 to Kaiserslautern. He did play a full 90, 58 touches, 19 of 32 of accurate passes, 5 of those in the final third. Managed only 7 defensive contributions. It really wasn't that great. You look at the metrics across the board, the things that you're good at, accurate long balls, accurate crosses, they just weren't there this week. He had a 6 rating, and it just is what it is. Some people can handle that travel. Some people can't. It is what it is. But I would probably assume that next week, coming back to this, you're going to see a good performance from John Tolkien. How about Joe Scally? And, of course, Borussia Mönchengladbach beat Heidenheim 3-0. Scally was absolutely brilliant. 90 minutes played, plays the full 90, 84 touches, 53 of 58 of accurate passes, 4 of those in the final third, 13 defensive contribution, 9 clearances, 6 recoveries, 8 of 10 of ground duels, and good enough for an 8 rating. And he was absolutely brilliant this week. And this is kind of interesting because you guys know that I didn't think he had the greatest of the international players during the international break. I think, me personally, he's not a center back, and it is what it is. And I will die on that hill. But back in his natural right back position, he was absolutely brilliant. And that is exactly where he should be playing with the national team. And I understand, right? We play a little bit of a different style. And of course, in order to play that, you have to be a little bit more consistent in the attacking third. I think he can actually handle that assignment, and I think he's actually proved that on multiple occasions this season. But obviously, you're going to have Serginho Dest and Alex Freeman in front of them, so I understand. That being said, he had a great week. All right, turning to the center backs, Chris Richards and his Crystal Palace Eagles beat Wolves 2-0. He played 83 minutes, had 70 touches, 48 of 52 of accurate passes, 4 of those into the final third, 7 defensive contributions for Chris, 5 clearances, 3 of 5 of aerial duels, and it was good enough for a 7 rating. And of course, Chris is developing into quite the Premier League center back. And of course, he's playing on a team in Crystal Palace with Mark Gahey and also LaCroix on that back line, that back 3. And of course, that is a unit that is absolutely brilliant. And of course, he is a beneficiary of that back 3, and he's definitely holding his own. So, anytime that you can pitch a clean sheet, man, saying something about your back 3. Again, I understand it's Wolves, but still, a clean sheet's a clean sheet. Mark McKenzie his Toulouse lost to Angers 1-0. Played 82 minutes, managed 3 shots, 70 touches, 4 in the opposition box, 42 of 47 accurate passes. 10 of those went into the final third. 9 defensive contributions, 3 of 4 of aerial duels, and that also was good for a 7 rating. And it's nice, and it's weird. McKenzie is consistent. I will give him that, even though that Toulouse isn't exactly the best of teams in Ligue 1. But it's nice to see that McKenzie's that continued growth in League 1. One of the things that I like is that it seemed like last year was choppy. Like every other week he would throw a good performance. It never seemed consistent. At least with this year, it seems incredibly consistent, and that's what I absolutely like about that. And we'll see exactly how this one plays out. I still think McKenzie is actually a lock for the World Cup team, but I digress. Austin Trusty, as his Celtic beat St. Mirren 1-0. Trusty himself played a full 90, 94 touches, 80 of 83 of accurate passes, 4 clearances, 4 recoveries, and that was good enough for a 7 rating. And Trusty, not as good as the week leading into the November break, but that's okay. but then again, his numbers always look gaudy. And when you consider, the team he plays for, the league that he plays in, that it's going to be a given. But again, not as gaudy as they usually would be. And of course, Celtic isn't necessarily having a Celtic type of season, as it looks like Hearts is going to run away with the Scottish Prem. And finally, Nokai Banks, as his side beat Hamburg 1-0. Osberg beats Hamburg 1-0. Excuse me about that. He plays a full 90. 54 touches, 39 of 43 of accurate passes, 8 in the final third, 4 defensive contributions, 3 recoveries, 3 of 7 of ground duels. And that was good enough for a 7 rating. And it's nice to see Nokai Banks. And again, one of the things that I've noticed about Nokai is the consistency. It doesn't seem he's like at that point where he's just getting his footing in the Bundesliga. And I think there's going to be an adjustment because now that he's a regular starter, and that is going to come with just continuous game time. And I'm perfectly okay with that because I would probably assume that, again, I don't necessarily think that Nokai is going to be a part of the 2026 World Cup cycle. To me, he looks to be like a 2030 guy. And that's perfectly okay because I actually think he's going to need a few years in the Bundesliga to really kind of cement himself with the U.S. men's national team. I just think right now it's too soon. And, of course, I think his performances kind of mirror that. Lastly, with the goalkeepers, not exactly the greatest week for goalkeepers abroad, as Ethan Horvath and his Sheffield Wednesday competed in the Sheffield Derby, and Wednesday lost 3-0 to United. Obviously played the entire game, did make 4 saves, but he also conceded 3, 9 of 30 of accurate passes, 4 of 25 of accurate long balls, 43 touches, and it was good for, 5.5. And that's actually kind of generous. When you concede 3 goals to a team like Sheffield United, it is what it is. Jonathan Klinsmann and his Cessna lost 1-0 to Monza. He played the entire game, only conceded 1, 23 of 43 of accurate passes, 2 of 3 of accurate long balls, 30 touches, and it looks like he had 6 throws as well, too. That was good enough for a 6 rating. And that is that. One of the things that I will say is outside of keepers, and it is what it is, man. Our keepers are what they are. But overall, when you look at the entire position group outside of striker, it's understandable. 2 of our best strikers didn't feature this weekend. Perfectly fine. But when you look at from forwards all the way through center backs, man, a lot of 7 ratings this week, which it just kind of goes to show you exactly the type of talent we possess. Now, coincidentally, a lot of these players weren't involved in the November window, so I fully expected these type of performances. But again, man, a very good weekend, and one of the things that I appreciated was that firepower in the forward group. It's nice seeing multiple players check in with goals. It was nice to see Christian, Tillman, Weah all get down and dirty this weekend when it came to goal scoring, and of course, Christian, obviously, man, in the Milan Derby. So from that standpoint, man, I was absolutely thrilled. But again, that's going to do it for me tonight, as this was a quick little recap. Make sure that you hit the like and subscribe buttons, and make sure that you hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the upcoming talent. That's going to do it for me, guys. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. Take care.